Everyone says that in order to have a memorable sex must be flawless, grasp challenging methods, or flaunt similar to a model. However, that's only the half of the formula. After several years assisting couples and being aware of the fundamental psychology of men, I discovered description of a basic alteration, the entire image. Something is there. Something, should you fail to comprehend it, can make you. He emotionally disengages even during the most private times. Furthermore, it's not the "what are your thoughts?" It has nothing to do with your physique, either your performance or your experience. It concerns something far more profound than takes place in their brain, and the majority of the women don't even know. I will tell it how it is. I've observed remarkable, bright women, lovely, totally losing the emotional bond with their spouses due of their inability to comprehend these 7 neurological components that change a close-up meeting in an event. It leaves a lasting impression. Additionally, when I'm speaking from neuroscience when I say brand, I am referring to those interactions that trigger reward structures that are so ingrained in what the male brain produces. They are known as dopaminergic traces, enduring neural associations that they connect him to your presence and spirit, more genuine and pure enjoyment. However, here originates from a lesson I learned from experience. This is particularly crucial for older ladies, as we own something that the younger ones are still immature entirely. We are able to establish genuine emotional closeness, which is our strongest evolutionary advantage. I recognize that after having been painful, following partnerships that didn't, they worked after sensing unnoticed or underappreciated, which could lead to. It's difficult to accept that you possess the ability to establish that profound bond. However, you have it, and I'll give you an explanation, just how to turn it on. While I have years of clinical research experience, noticed an intriguing pattern. The most creative ladies for their partners, they are not memorable. The more youthful they are, the more knowledgeable or physically able ideal are people who have discovered how to use her feminine strength, deeper and more genuine. And this is what that makes all the difference. When a female, mature person is aware of these rules, cognitive, and incorporates them from their genuineness, not only changes their partner's experience, but instead regains his personal relationship with his stronger and more satisfying sexuality. The initial component that changes. The whole masculine experience, I refer to it as validation. Here it is, genuine neuro-emotional something many women find difficult to comprehend. I'm not sure, attempts to act, pretend, or do sounds, something entirely different, distinct. When a man pays attention, actual truthful statements that originate from your actual experience during the closeness, a cascade is released from their brain. Dopamine that establishes connections intensely sentimental. I'm not speaking of practiced groans. I'm speaking of expressions such as, "I love you," "this that I adore being with you," "yet you drive me insane," such as this. Are you aware of what occurs at the level neurological when you say this with genuineness? His nervous system believes that it is not merely being physically successful, but instead it is being viewed, acknowledged, and appreciated as man. And this turns on what we refer to as the male reward system principle. You who have been in partnerships, you understand, mature, that males, regardless of indeed, they appear to have a strong want to understand that they are doing things correctly with you. This genuine vocal affirmation is similar to directly into their emotional system. The assurance that you're content with him, of that he gives you genuine joy. However, allow me to share with you something that altered my very different viewpoint, the distinction between deceptive affirmation and genuine confirmation. The confirmation, fear, and desire are the root causes of manipulation. To perform a part and please, the genuine validation originates from within. Experience of enjoyment and your capacity of being there and genuinely experiencing it that's taking place. I've collaborated with women who have lost everything, her genuine voice and closeness. Women who felt compelled to act that they were required to perform expectations, which had to be ideal for being wanted. Additionally, when they found that they could once again express their genuine enjoyment without pretending, everything was evolving. I recall the case in particular of a woman who approached me at the age of 45 consultation, feeling fully disengaged from her sexuality. There was acted on what he thought was his for years. A pair was interested in listening when he or she discovered to relate to their own experiences and convey it unfiltered. Not only changed their relationship, but regained an aspect of herself that she believed forever lost. And this leads me to second essential component, what I refer to it as emotional zeal, impulsive. This is something that only the we can provide mature women. Sincere manner, since we've learned to link for our own enjoyment. Scoundrel. Here's what I've noticed continuously in my consultation. The men have biological programming to determine whether a woman is whether they are acting or truly present. The part of his basic brain that doesn't falsehoods is able to tell the difference between a genuine reaction as well as a performance. As you play, when you laugh, and when without any restrictions, you respond when you give yourself permission to act impulsively. You are giving deep brain signals that their system is informed that she is here, is having fun. This is true. Additionally, that authenticity is what we refer to as great emotional memory intensity. I've witnessed amazing women lose their brilliance, that they felt compelled to take action, that they needed to be flawless, that they needed to fulfill irrational demands. However, in actuality, the reverse is true. Impulsivity, your capacity to be present for your own enjoyment, which is what established that enduring bond. And this arrives something that the neuroscience. When a female truly present in his own pleasure, emitting messages and pheromones, the energetics of the male brain has an unconscious degree of perception. This stimulates in him more than simply bodily elation, but a strong emotional bond. The distinction between an acting lady and the one that exists is appalling in terms of the effects on the nervous system. The can first produce bodily pleasure, chronologically. The second forges connections, long-lasting neurons that provide him connect that experience to something special, unique, and priceless. Your capacity to, when something truly makes you chuckle, to let out a sigh of delight, genuine, to move as your body does, desires to move without any kind of choreography. Mind, which is what produces that enchantment that surpasses the material and becomes a part of the sentimental. The third component that indicates there seems to be a distinction. Straightforward, but neurologically potent. Extended eye contact throughout the closeness. This is what many women don't comprehend. It has nothing to do with the technical. Vulnerability is the issue. Genuine emotion. When you continue to making eye contact in those situations close, you're turning on their system of stronger emotional bond. A neurological level. Making eye contact, oxytocin is released continuously, the hormone of connection, and produces what is referred to as synchrony of the brain. However, this needs something that can only be obtained via maturity, emotional support. The capacity to being open and honest about your vulnerability without fear, being without concealing, to observe it without masks. It is an emotional bravery deed that males are aware of like something out of instinct, remarkable. Those of you who have mastered that, you have improved yourself. And to meet you same to how your wounds have healed, you have the capacity to provide this presence sincere, and that presence results in strong neuronal link that he will never forget. And now it's here. Something I learned from Experience Clinic. Making eye contact is more than merely it's energetic, passionate, visual, and the spoken exchange between two neurological systems that are identified and respect one another. A lot of women, they don't make eye contact throughout the intimacy because of shame, because of anxieties, due to a fear of visibility entirely. However, when a woman, a mature person, learns to maintain eye contact, to give him the chance to see her whole, establishes a degree of closeness that goes far outside of the physical realm. I've seen that this deliberate eye contact initiates what we refer to in guys as acknowledgement of the soul. It's a sensation of appearing at the level deeper. And an addiction results from this favorable feeling that causes them to connect that encounter with something special and sacred and interchangeable. According to neuroscience, demonstrates that when two individuals keep making eye contact during times of vulnerability, which we refer to as being created synchrony of the brain, they're on SA, literally line up in the brain, establishing a moment of bonding that surpasses the person. The space element totally transforms the dynamic, or initiative, as I refer to it, emotional in women. Additionally, this is particularly strong for women mature, since we've gained comprehension what we desire, and to communicate it without shame. Allow me to clarify something for you. Transforms everything. The males are accustomed to taking charge and initiative, to take the initiative to look. When a mature woman is proactive, isn't she? Not out of despair, but from his own genuine desire, it becomes active, something I refer to as validation of being wanted. I'm not referring to being hostile or behaving outside of your essence. I'm referring to tiny ones, gestures that convey the message. I want you, I value you, I choose. It can be that easy, like going up to him and giving him a kiss first. Take her hand or whisper something in her ear and mentor her. Are you aware of what transpires in her? When you do this, your brain activates its incentive scheme connected to feel wanted, appreciated, and selected. A man's perception of a woman looks for their own genuineness, not out of need, but out of desire. It is neurologically addictive, and it is real. This is something that many women don't recognize, that this initiative needs to originate from relationship you have with yourself, of the capacity to identify your own desires and convey it. It's a method, not a technique. Genuine manifestation of your femininity mature. But I've noticed something continuously. A lot of older women, they know how to stifle this initiative for previous injuries, out of fear of rejection as a result of socialization. Regain the capacity to communicate I want to further recover your feminine strength. Genuine. I've dealt with women who, they had totally lost the capacity to communicate desire. Women who, he was always supposed to take the initiative, which they had become accustomed to remain passive and not communicate what truly desired. And after they got better this ability, all of the dynamics of the initiative was changing the relationship. The mature feminine differs from it is not a result of insecurity or youth. The need for approval stems from a location of knowledge and fullness own, possessing the capacity to decide intentionally. And this is unavoidable for the brain of a man. When a woman who is 30, 40, 50, or older takes initiative from its authenticity, is communicating something powerful. I choose to be here with you. I wish this. I value this moment. And that communication generates a response, deep neurological gratitude and relationship within him. The fifth component is perhaps the most profound and transformative, what I refer to as emotional presence aware. And this is something that only we can offer when we have done the internal work of getting to know each other and heal us. I will tell you the truth. In a world of fleeting relationships, of informal connections, of interactions without soul, the true manifestation of emotion is groundbreaking. As a woman ages able to be emotionally present, intimacy, establish an encounter that leaves a lasting impression. What is meant by emotional presence? Conscious? Slow down, please. Give a hug when your heart requests it. When you sense that you need to connect, take a breath together. Letting the emotions are free to flow, which implies to reside within your heart, body, and right now, the men. Despite many people don't verbally express it, they are ravenous for this genuine emotional presence. The nervous system detects when the woman is actually there, when he or she is not acting or performing expectations, but just existing. This triggers in them what I refer to as system of deep attachment. It's not only physical attraction, is more than just enjoyment. Corporal. It is soul-to-soul recognition. It is the feeling of being recognized and welcomed, and appreciated in its totality. Allow me to provide you an explanation of anything that I've learned from attachment neuroscience. There are nerve systems in this genuine emotional presence, which is produced, what we refer to as co-regulation neurological. The rhythms of their hearts are aligned, their breathing, their neurological systems to synchronize. The difference is that they both calm each other. Between intimate encounters and mechanized sex transformer. Additionally, this capability to being emotionally present is something that, as we mature, we acquire the self-knowledge, with the capacity to occupy our own body. Criminal. I've noticed in my clinical procedure that older women, people have worked in therapy, who have mended psychological injuries, which have discovered how to stay in the moment with oneself. Likewise, they possess a special capacity to provide this emotional support, aware. It's no accident that a lot of men look for ladies to date, grow up after going through shallow relationships. There's something in a woman's emotional presence who understands, that has been healed, that is accepted, that is both addictive and incredibly healing for the spirit of the man. This presence, conscious emotionality, comprises the ability to sense and communicate the thankfulness in the midst of intimacy. You can truly sense the gift it is. What a blessing this is right now. Connection. That thankful energy generates and communicates an experience sacred. It encompasses the capacity to embracing the feelings that emerge. You give in to sensitivity if you experience it. If a strong connection is felt, you communicate. If beauty excites you, you share it at the moment. Emotional genuineness is what transforms a face-to-face meeting into a transforming encounter. The sixth component that changes utterly the experience is what I refer to as the art of emotional tension. Imaginative. And now, something that the event was taught by the brain's men are predisposed to react fervently to the expectation effectively handled. I'm not referring to playing tricks on you or engaging in manipulative games, challenging out of resentment. I'm referring to something far more advanced. The ability to induce tension in the body and mind that increases desire and creates the next interaction is neurologically more powerful. This is possible. Similar to a touch that ends immediately when he's craving more. A glance that promises but doesn't fulfill them right away. Words whispered that produce, it's the art of seduction. Expectation. mature, with purpose behind each gesture, and each pause serves a purpose. Are you aware of what it happens in the brain when you make? Is he anticipating this consciously? His brain. Dopamine is released not just during the meeting, but during the whole stage of anticipation. This leads me to connect your presence with joy in anticipation, causing what is known as addiction, emotionally upbeat. But here's the important distinction. This tension needs to originating from your relationship with oneself, similarly, of your capacity to sense your own sensual ability, not of a need for control or insecurities. When it originates from a genuine source, it is magnetic. And now I notice something continuously. Mature women. In this, we naturally have an edge, since we now know our passions, our rhythms, our era. We are able to produce this tension derived from knowledge, not from neurological disorders. This capacity to manage the periods, of establishing deliberate pauses, of permit desire to develop progressively. It's an art that perfects through emotional experience, and the men admit it, like something out of instinct remarkable. The emotional strain. Being creative also means having the capacity to generate intimate emotional experiences, deep, then additional moments lighthearted and fun. This change in the intensity of the emotions keeps the constantly masculine brain energized and interconnected. I have observed how women that are skilled in this field of conscious tension can sustain their firmly bonded pairs. No, only when in close proximity, but in the relationship's elements. It seems as though they were able to manipulate the soul's threads. Masterful and masculine. It also suggests the capacity to postpone the satisfaction in a deliberate way and sensual, not via coercion, but from a profound comprehension of that the expected outcome is enjoy more intensely. We've arrived at the seventh component, which is possibly the most potent and revolutionary, what I refer to as vulnerable authenticity in the absence of a mask. This component that distinguishes the memorable experiences from the forgettable, and we are only able to offer after we've completed the task, profoundly and fully accepting who we are. I have something to say that could alter your viewpoint forever. The most attractive for a man, memorable, is not the most. Although it's technically flawless, it's not the one, possesses the most ideal body, yet it's not. It is the one where the woman performs. More acrobatic is fully present in his genuineness, devoid of acting or pretense, without concealing. When you give up to be flawless and you're just genuine, when you let your weakness to demonstrate, when you let yourself to be unplanned and unrestrained, you are providing something that is becoming more and more uncommon in our world, complete genuineness. And this is that a lot of women don't comprehend. Authenticity is strength, not weakness. It is the strength of a self-aware woman, is acknowledged and permitted to be viewed fully, and this is, he is neurologically addicted. What do you think about the male brain? Since when you let yourself be genuine, you also grant him permission of removing their mask, which results in this I refer to as the synchronization of vulnerability, in which two individuals without barriers, they discover each other soul to soul, without any performances. I've observed remarkable changes when women are aware of this. Women who, they felt compelled to take action, that they had to fulfill irrational demands. 2. They learn that they have to be flawless. Her greatest asset is her genuine vulnerability. Strong. Allow me to clarify something that I possesses knowledge of the neuropsychology of connection. When two individuals first meet, they are ignited in this reciprocal genuineness. Systems with deep connectivity that go memory is made outside of the physical realm. Really strong feeling that persists in due time. Your capacity for humor, to sigh when something makes you chuckle, when you tremble with genuine pleasure. What do you say when you're excited? You truly feel as though there are no filters. No performance is what establishes that bond. Irrevocable. And now something that I notice women in particular, mature. We've gained knowledge from the discover that excellence is a delusion. That genuineness is what truly resonates. That vulnerability. Our superpower is consciousness, emotional. This openness to vulnerability involves giving yourself permission to experience the feelings that emerge during closeness. You communicate tenderness if you feel it. You express thankfulness if you feel profound relationship. You give it permission. You suppress your feelings. Genuine. But let me clarify one thing. Essential. Being authentic does not imply lack of self-respect or boundaries. It entails staying loyal to your inner self, a setting of respect and self-love reciprocal. It entails speaking the truth from a position of inner fortitude, no out of desperation or necessity. Additionally, fragile authenticity consists of the capacity to express what you want genuine, your genuine fantasies, your emotional requirements during the closeness, not out of obligation. However, from a position of expressing your inner world, women have been a part of my work that they had concealed for decades their actual sexual nature, adjusting to what they believed their spouses desired, playing parts that weren't theirs. Additionally, when they were eventually permitted to be genuine, their entire experience of intimacy was changing drastically. This genuineness also encompasses the capacity to display your flaws, your marks, your scoundrel wounds, your quirks, everything that distinguishes you. When a woman mature enough to display both her body and her soul, please don't apologize. Instead, create a complete and profound acceptance, both parties healing, and this is what can change your romantic life to constantly. When you combine these 7 components of your mature authenticity, you do more than just produce unforgettable moments for him, but instead, you get back your greater awareness of your feminine power deep. I recognize that if you have been injured, if you have encountered situations where if you've ever felt that you weren't appreciated, perhaps you had to pretend to be liked, be horrifying to let you do this genuine vulnerability, but it is, I promise, the route to the genuine connection. As the reality is, the sex that leaves a lasting impression does not. It's emotional, technical, and not impeccable, genuine, and unacted, makes sense. And when a lady gets older, recognizes this, and permits oneself to live in it, one becomes a magnetic level that beyond physics, your understanding, emotional intelligence, the capacity to current, your capacity to be genuine, unafraid, and your knowledge, your ability to induce conscious stress to confirm the authenticity of your donation, to act out of initiative, out of desire, genuine, and your capacity for communication. The tools are visually susceptible, stronger than you are. You don't require. Since you're younger, you don't require another body. You don't have to acquire any skills, complex. You must establish a connection with certain qualities that you already possess, that have been improved by your insight, which they have grown more profound as you have matured, personal. Additionally, when you give yourself permission to be this genuine version of yourself and strong in your own closeness. No, you only produce unforgettable moments for. Instead, you get back in touch with your own deeper feminine nature and revolutionary. I've observed ladies in their 40s, rediscovering their potency after 50 or 60 years sensual in ways they never thought feasible. Women who thought their better years had gone by after learning that actually the years when he was most charismatic and strong were starting. And this occurs as a result of genuine seduction. The "that alters and marks" is not derived from the physical perfection or youth, comes of awareness of oneself, of presence, emotional, of having the capacity to love independently disguises, of the knowledge that only obtained by feeling, healing, and living. Keep in mind that each emotional wound that you've recovered and gained the ability to kindness, each and every wound you have gained depth as a result of transformation. Every event in your life has granted greater insight to establish a connection honestly with a fellow human being. Considering that the sex that actually, the one that remains in recollection, is enduringly sentimental. It is the place where two individuals cross paths in their more vulnerable, more genuine humanity, and more genuine and that capacity for connection. The most valuable present that can be given is real. You have the ability to give and receive real benefit as an adult lady. No. You must compete with additional iterations. Young ladies with other women or like you. The source of your power is something entirely else, distinct and special. It's in your capacity to establish emotional closeness, genuine, of providing a genuine presence, of to connect soul, to love fearlessly. Additionally, when a lady accepts this reality and it is permitted to fully occupy it, it becomes such a loving force, strong enough to change not just its close connections, but all of their encounter in life. Because when you understand, accept yourself for who you are, fully, you exude a mystical aura that is utterly irresistible.